Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every person's life when they stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That single shift changes everything. Yes. Life has a remarkable way of placing people in our path, not only to bring us joy, but also to reveal our standards, our boundaries, and our self-worth. Yes. Sometimes the greatest lesson doesn't come from the people who love us wholeheartedly. It comes from those who keep us confused. Yes. Today we're going to uncover 5 obvious signs an avoidant is keeping multiple partners on rotation, not to create fear, not to encourage suspicion. Yes. But to help you recognize your value so clearly that you never settle for uncertainty again. The first sign is inconsistency that becomes predictable. Think about that for a moment. They disappear without explanation. Yes. Then return as though nothing ever happened. One day you're their priority. The next day you're wondering whether they even remember you exist. The cycle repeats over and over until confusion becomes normal. Yes. But here's the truth, consistency is not a luxury. It is the foundation of trust. If someone truly values you, they don't make you question where you stand every single week. Yes. They don't vanish whenever emotional closeness increases. When a person is balancing multiple connections, inconsistency becomes their strategy because attention is divided. And when you begin accepting crumbs, yes, you stop expecting the feast you deserve. Raise your standards. Stop celebrating someone's temporary return when they never should have disappeared in the first place. Yes. The second sign is emotional distance disguised as independence. There is a difference between having healthy space and refusing genuine intimacy. Yes. An avoidant who is keeping several people around often shares just enough to keep everyone interested, but never enough to create real vulnerability. Conversations remain on the surface. Plans stay uncertain. Yes. Every attempt to deepen the relationship is met with another excuse, another delay, another reason why now isn't the right time. Ask yourself this: can love grow where honesty is constantly postponed? Yes. Relationships thrive on emotional investment. If someone continually avoids meaningful conversations while expecting your patience, they may be protecting more than their privacy. Yes. They may be protecting a system that depends on keeping everyone separated from the truth. The third sign is selective availability. Notice when they reach out. Is it only when they're lonely? Yes. Only when their schedule suddenly opens. Only when they need attention, comfort, or validation. Healthy relationships involve mutual effort. Both people make room for each other. Yes. But someone rotating multiple partners often operates on convenience rather than commitment. They contact whoever fits the emotional need of the moment. And here's what makes this dangerous. Yes. They can make you feel incredibly special during those brief moments of attention. They become charming, affectionate, exciting, and completely focused on you. Then just as quickly, they fade away again. Yes. That emotional roller coaster isn't passion, it's unpredictability. Don't confuse intensity with stability. The strongest relationships aren't built on emotional highs. They're built on dependable actions repeated over time. Yes. The fourth sign is constant mystery around their personal life. Privacy is healthy, secrecy is different. If months pass and you still know very little about their daily life, their close relationships, or their future plans, yes, pay attention. If every question is answered vaguely, if every invitation into their world is postponed, if every conversation about commitment somehow changes direction, there's a reason. Transparency doesn't weaken trust. Yes. It strengthens it. Someone who genuinely wants you in their life gradually opens the door wider. They don't keep you permanently standing outside, wondering when you'll finally be invited in. Yes. You should never have to become a detective in your own relationship. Love is not supposed to feel like solving a mystery. It's supposed to feel like building something together, brick by brick, yes, through honesty and mutual respect. The fifth sign is that they keep every door slightly open. Notice the language they use. They avoid clear definitions. They resist labels. Yes. They speak about the future and possibilities rather than intentions. They leave enough ambiguity that every connection remains available without requiring full commitment. Why? Yes. Because options provide comfort for someone afraid of vulnerability. They fear losing freedom more than losing people. But understand this powerful truth is someone who keeps every door open eventually prevents themselves from fully walking through any of them. Real fulfillment comes from choosing, investing, and showing up completely. You deserve someone who chooses you openly, confidently, and consistently, not someone who keeps you waiting while exploring every possible alternative. Now, here's the most important realization of all. This isn't really about them, it's about you. Because once you recognize these patterns, you face a decision. Will you continue explaining away behavior that repeatedly hurts you? Or will you finally decide that your peace matters more than your attachment to potential? Potential has trapped countless people in unhappy relationships. They keep saying maybe they'll change, maybe they just need time, maybe if I love them enough. But relationships are built on reality, not possibility. You cannot build a future on someone's occasional effort. You cannot create lasting trust with someone who refuses consistent honesty. Love grows where responsibility exists. It withers where excuses flourish. Your value does not increase because someone finally decides to treat you correctly after months of confusion. Your value has always been there. The question is whether you've been willing to protect it. Imagine waking up every morning without questioning where you stand. Imagine receiving communication that doesn't leave you anxious. Imagine building a relationship where respect is obvious, commitment is mutual, and honesty isn't something you have to beg for. That isn't a fantasy. That is what healthy love looks like. But you cannot fully receive healthy love while constantly making room for unhealthy patterns. The strongest people aren't those who never experience disappointment. They are the ones who learn from it. They stop chasing explanations and start creating standards. They stop asking for permission to be valued and start expecting it naturally. They understand that every moment spent convincing the wrong person is a moment taken away from becoming available to the right one. So make a decision today. Decide that confusion is no longer acceptable. Decide that mixed signals are not enough. Decide that your heart deserves clarity instead of chaos. Every choice you make either strengthens your confidence or weakens it. Every boundary you enforce teaches the world how to treat you. Every standard you refuse to lower becomes an investment in your future happiness. Remember this, confidence isn't built by finding someone who finally validates your worth. Confidence is built by refusing to stay where your worth is constantly questioned. The moment you stop settling for uncertainty, you create space for certainty. The moment you stop accepting half-hearted effort, you become available for wholehearted commitment. And the moment you recognize your own value, you become unstoppable because you no longer chase what cannot choose you. Instead, you choose yourself first. And from that place of strength, every relationship you build has the opportunity to become healthier, deeper, and infinitely more rewarding. One of the clearest signs that someone is keeping multiple romantic options open is a pattern of inconsistency that eventually becomes so common it starts feeling normal. At first, their behavior may seem exciting because it creates moments of intense attention followed by periods of complete silence. They might spend hours talking with you, making you feel like the center of their world, only to disappear for days without any explanation. When they finally return, they act as if nothing happened, expecting the connection to continue exactly where it left off. This cycle can leave you constantly wondering where you stand, searching for reasons behind their absence, and making excuses for behavior that repeatedly creates confusion. Many people mistake inconsistency for a busy lifestyle or a need for personal space. But there is an important difference between someone who genuinely has responsibilities and someone who consistently fails to communicate. A person who truly values a relationship understands that even during stressful times, a simple message or honest explanation can preserve trust. When communication disappears without warning and returns only when it suits them, it often suggests that their attention is divided. Instead of investing steadily in one relationship, they may be shifting their focus between different people. depending on what they need in that moment. This pattern can become emotionally exhausting because every return brings hope that things have finally changed. They may apologize briefly, become unusually affectionate, or promise to do better, creating the impression that the relationship is moving forward. For a short time, everything feels exciting again, but before long, the same behavior repeats itself. The repeated cycle of distance and affection can create emotional uncertainty, making it difficult to judge the relationship based on consistent actions rather than temporary emotions. When someone is juggling multiple connections, inconsistency often becomes unavoidable. Time, energy, and emotional attention are limited resources. If those resources are being shared among several people, no single relationship receives the steady investment needed to grow. Plans may frequently be canceled, messages may arrive at unusual times, and explanations may remain vague or incomplete. Rather than offering clear communication, they rely on unpredictability, leaving each person waiting for the next moment of attention. It is important to judge a relationship by patterns instead of isolated moments. Anyone can have a difficult week, become overwhelmed, or occasionally need extra space. Healthy relationships allow room for those realities. The difference lies in whether inconsistency is the exception or the rule. Consistent care builds trust over time, while repeated unpredictability slowly weakens emotional security. A relationship should not require constant guessing, decoding mixed signals, or wondering whether you will hear from someone tomorrow or next week. Recognizing this pattern allows you to shift your focus from chasing reassurance to evaluating actions. Words may sound convincing. Promises may offer temporary comfort, but lasting trust is built through dependable behavior repeated over time. When someone's actions repeatedly leave you uncertain about your place in their life, the inconsistency itself becomes valuable information, revealing far more than any explanation they might offer. Another obvious sign is emotional distance that is presented as independence. There is nothing wrong with valuing personal space, maintaining individual goals, or enjoying time alone. In fact, healthy relationships encourage both partners to grow as individuals while remaining emotionally connected. The problem begins when someone repeatedly uses independence as a shield to avoid genuine closeness. They may insist they are simply private, not ready to open up, or naturally reserved. But over time, you notice that every opportunity for deeper emotional connection is quietly avoided. The relationship stays in a comfortable but shallow space where real vulnerability never seems to happen. In the beginning, this emotional distance can be difficult to recognize because the person may appear confident, charming, and attentive. They know how to create enjoyable conversations, share exciting experiences, and make you feel appreciated in the moment. However, when discussions move toward feelings, commitment, future plans, or personal struggles, they often redirect the conversation or provide vague answers. They reveal just enough about themselves to maintain your interest, but rarely enough to build complete trust. This selective openness keeps you emotionally invested while preventing the relationship from reaching a deeper level. Someone who is keeping multiple partners on rotation often benefits from maintaining this emotional barrier. Genuine vulnerability creates stronger attachment, deeper accountability, and greater expectations for commitment. By staying emotionally unavailable, they avoid becoming fully responsible to any one person. They can enjoy companionship, attention, and validation without making the emotional investment that a healthy relationship requires. This allows them to move between different connections while protecting themselves from difficult questions or meaningful commitments. You may also notice that they become uncomfortable whenever the relationship begins to feel more serious. Conversations about exclusivity, future goals, or defining the relationship may be postponed repeatedly. Instead of providing clear answers, they may respond with statements like, "Let's not rush things," or "I just like living in the moment." While taking time to build a relationship is perfectly reasonable, constantly delaying important conversations without genuine progress can become a pattern rather than a temporary phase. Over time, this emotional distance often creates an imbalance. You find yourself sharing your thoughts, fears, dreams, and personal experiences while knowing very little about theirs. You begin carrying the emotional weight of the relationship, initiating difficult conversations, offering reassurance, and making efforts to strengthen the bond. Meanwhile, they remain comfortably detached, giving enough attention to keep the connection alive without allowing true emotional intimacy to develop. Healthy love grows through mutual openness, honesty, and trust. Both people gradually become more comfortable sharing their authentic selves, including their fears, weaknesses, and long-term hopes. Emotional intimacy cannot exist when one person consistently avoids vulnerability while expecting the other to remain patient and understanding. A relationship built on one-sided emotional investment eventually leaves one partner feeling unseen, uncertain, and emotionally exhausted, while the other maintains enough distance to preserve multiple options without fully committing to any single connection. Another powerful indicator is selective availability. This pattern is not about someone having a demanding career, family responsibilities, or occasional scheduling conflicts. Everyone experiences busy periods in life. The difference is that a genuinely interested person makes an effort to stay connected, communicate honestly, and create time whenever possible. Someone who is keeping multiple romantic options, however, often appears available only when it serves their immediate needs. Their attention comes in waves, leaving you feeling important one moment and completely forgotten the next. You may notice that they usually reach out when they are bored, lonely, stressed, or looking for emotional comfort. They send thoughtful messages late at night, call unexpectedly after days of silence, or suddenly become affectionate when they sense you are pulling away. During these moments, they can make you feel like the only person who matters. They may compliment you, express how much they missed you, or make exciting plans for the future. Yet as soon as they receive the reassurance, attention, or companionship they were seeking, their level of effort begins to fade once again. This cycle can be confusing because the moments of connection feel sincere. They may laugh with you, listen carefully, and create memorable experiences that make you believe the relationship is becoming stronger. But relationships should not be judged only by the intensity of isolated moments. They should be evaluated by the consistency of effort over time. If someone's attention appears only when it is convenient for them, while disappearing whenever responsibility or commitment is expected, that pattern deserves careful attention. People who keep several partners on rotation often manage their time according to opportunity rather than emotional commitment. They may arrange plans at the last minute, frequently cancel with vague explanations, or only contact you after other plans have fallen through. Instead of making you a priority, they fit you into whatever space remains in their schedule. Because they are balancing different relationships or sources of validation, they cannot consistently invest in one person without neglecting another. As a result, their availability constantly changes, depending on where their attention is directed at any given time. You may also find yourself doing most of the work to maintain the connection. You initiate conversations, suggest meeting up, remember important dates, and check in regularly, while they rarely take the first step unless they want something. Over time, this creates an unhealthy imbalance where you become responsible for keeping the relationship alive. A healthy partnership is built on mutual effort, where both people actively contribute to communication, planning, and emotional support, instead of relying on one person to carry the relationship forward. Selective availability can also create an emotional roller coaster. The unpredictable nature of their attention makes every message feel exciting because you never know when the next one will arrive. This uncertainty can cause you to focus on the brief periods of affection while overlooking the much longer periods of absence. Instead of asking whether they are consistently present, you begin celebrating the smallest signs of attention simply because they have become so rare. Gradually, your expectations become lower, and behavior that once seemed unacceptable starts feeling normal. A healthy relationship does not require you to compete for someone's time or wonder whether you are simply filling an empty space in their schedule. Consistent effort, reliable communication, and genuine interest create emotional security because they demonstrate that both people are choosing each other on a regular basis. When someone's availability depends entirely on their convenience rather than a shared commitment to the relationship, their actions often reveal priorities that their words never will. Another sign that deserves close attention is when someone keeps their personal life surrounded by constant mystery. Every healthy relationship includes a reasonable level of privacy because everyone has personal boundaries and experiences that they choose to share over time. Privacy reflects respect for individuality, while secrecy creates distance and uncertainty. When someone consistently avoids giving you a clear picture of their life, despite the relationship progressing, it may indicate that they are deliberately protecting information they do not want you to discover. At first, this behavior may not seem unusual. They might tell you they are naturally private, prefer to keep their personal life separate, or simply enjoy handling things on their own. Those explanations can sound reasonable, especially during the early stages of getting to know each other. However, as weeks turn into months, you begin to notice that very little changes. You still know almost nothing about their daily routine, their close friendships, their family relationships, or how they spend large portions of their time. Whenever you ask simple questions, the answers are brief, vague, or quickly redirected toward another topic. You may also notice that they rarely invite you into important parts of their life. They avoid introducing you to friends or family, hesitate to include you in meaningful events, and seem uncomfortable whenever your relationship becomes more visible. While every relationship moves at its own pace, genuine commitment usually involves gradually sharing more of each other's world. When someone consistently keeps you separate from the people and places that matter most to them, it can create the feeling that you are living in a completely different reality from the one they experience every day. People who are keeping multiple partners on rotation often rely on this separation to prevent different parts of their life from overlapping. By limiting what each person knows, they reduce the chances of uncomfortable questions or unexpected discoveries. They become skilled at providing enough information to satisfy curiosity without revealing details that could expose conflicting commitments. This carefully controlled flow of information allows them to maintain different relationships while keeping each one isolated from the others. Another pattern involves vague explanations about where they have been or what they have been doing. Simple questions about their weekend, evening plans, or upcoming schedule may receive unclear responses that lack specific details. They might frequently say they have been busy, caught up with things, or handling personal matters without offering the kind of natural explanation that people usually share with someone they trust. While everyone has moments when they prefer not to discuss certain topics, constant vagueness can gradually become a pattern rather than an exception. Technology can sometimes reveal the same behavior. They may become unusually protective of their phone, quickly hide notifications, step away to answer calls, or avoid using their device around you altogether. None of these actions automatically prove dishonesty, because everyone has a right to personal privacy. The concern arises when these habits exist alongside emotional distance, inconsistent communication, and a refusal to be transparent about everyday aspects of their life. One behavior alone may not mean much, but several recurring patterns together deserve thoughtful consideration. Healthy relationships become stronger through openness that develops naturally over time. Trust grows as both people willingly share their experiences, introduce each other to the important people in their lives, and create opportunities to build a future together. You should not feel as though you are constantly trying to solve a puzzle or fill in missing pieces. When someone genuinely wants you to become an important part of their life, they gradually replace uncertainty with clarity, allowing trust to grow through honest communication and consistent transparency, rather than leaving you to rely on guesses and assumptions. One of the most revealing signs that someone is keeping multiple romantic partners on rotation is their determination to keep every door slightly open. They avoid making clear commitments, resist defining the relationship, and leave just enough uncertainty to maintain several possibilities at the same time. Instead of giving you confidence about where you stand, they create an environment where nothing feels fully certain. This ambiguity allows them to enjoy the benefits of companionship without accepting the responsibility that comes with genuine commitment. In the beginning, this behavior can be easy to overlook. They may tell you that labels are unnecessary, that relationships should develop naturally, or that they simply do not like putting pressure on things. Those statements may sound reasonable because healthy relationships do grow over time. However, when months pass and every conversation about exclusivity, commitment, or the future is delayed or redirected, it becomes important to recognize the pattern rather than focusing only on the explanation. Someone who wants to keep multiple options available rarely gives direct answers to important questions. Instead of saying exactly what they want, they speak in possibilities. They might say things like, let's see where this goes. I'm not ready to define anything yet, or I just want to enjoy the moment. While there is nothing wrong with taking time before making a serious commitment, there should also be visible progress. If every discussion about the relationship ends with more uncertainty than clarity, they may be intentionally avoiding any decision that would require them to let go of other romantic opportunities. You may also notice that they are careful never to close off other connections completely. They continue communicating with former partners, maintain flirtatious conversations with other people, or stay active in ways that suggest they are still searching for additional attention and validation. Even if they insist these interactions are harmless, they often become defensive whenever the topic is discussed, rather than offering reassurance through consistent behavior. They expect you to accept ongoing ambiguity without asking questions. This approach creates an emotional imbalance because you are encouraged to invest fully while they remain only partially committed. You begin imagining a future together, making emotional sacrifices, and organizing your life around the relationship, while they continue protecting their freedom to leave whenever something they perceive as better comes along. Their reluctance to choose is not always caused by uncertainty about you. Sometimes it reflects a desire to keep receiving attention, admiration, and emotional support from several different people at once. Keeping every door open can also create false hope. Small gestures of affection, occasional promises, or exciting plans for the future make it seem as though commitment is just around the corner. Each positive moment convinces you that the relationship is finally moving forward. Yet when the time comes to take the next meaningful step, another reason appears for why now is not the right time. This repeated postponement keeps you emotionally invested while allowing them to continue living without clear responsibility. Healthy relationships are built on intentional choices. At some point, two people decide they are willing to invest in each other with honesty, trust, and mutual respect. That decision creates emotional security because both individuals understand where they stand. There is no constant guessing, no endless waiting for clarity, and no fear that someone else is quietly competing for the same place in the relationship. Commitment does not remove freedom. It gives love the stability it needs to grow. When someone consistently avoids making that choice, their actions deserve more attention than their promises. Anyone can talk about future possibilities, but genuine commitment is demonstrated through decisions, priorities, and consistent effort. A person who truly values you does not keep you in a permanent state of uncertainty while exploring every available option. They understand that meaningful relationships require courage, honesty, and the willingness to choose one path instead of trying to keep every possible path open at the same time. At the end of the day, this is not about becoming suspicious of everyone you meet. It is about becoming aware of the patterns that protect your peace, your confidence, and your future. When you understand these signs, you stop making decisions based on hope alone and start making them based on consistent actions. You no longer ignore the red flags because of temporary chemistry, and you no longer confuse uncertainty with excitement. You recognize that real love does not leave you constantly questioning your place in someone's life. Remember, people will always reveal their priorities through their actions. Words can be carefully chosen. Promises can be easily made, and excuses can sound convincing. But consistent behavior tells the truth every single time. If someone truly wants to build a meaningful relationship with you, they will not leave you wondering where you stand. They will communicate with honesty, show up with consistency, and make you feel secure rather than uncertain. The greatest transformation begins the moment you stop chasing validation from people who refuse to give you clarity. Your energy is far too valuable to spend trying to earn someone's attention when your presence should already be appreciated. The moment you raise your standards, you change the quality of the relationships you allow into your life. You begin attracting people who respect your boundaries, honor your time, and match your level of commitment. Never forget that your worth is not determined by how hard someone is willing to chase you or how long they keep you waiting. Your worth has always existed, independent of anyone else's choices. The right relationship will never require you to compete for attention, decode mixed signals, or sacrifice your self-respect just to feel loved. It will inspire trust instead of anxiety, confidence instead of confusion, and peace instead of emotional exhaustion. So choose clarity over confusion. Choose self-respect over temporary validation. Choose consistency over empty promises. Most importantly, choose yourself every single day. Because the moment you refuse to settle for less than you deserve is the moment your entire life begins to change. Thank you, and remember, the strongest relationship you will ever build is the one you have with yourself.